Right. We will start accounting equation past paper discussion from the MCQ part, which is 2012, right? In 2012 paper, you can see there were two questions that has been tested, right? We'll look at the first question. The entity paid, I believe here all of you will have covered up your theory parts, right? Okay, either physically or online. An entity has paid 8,000 for maintaining a machine. The effect of this transaction is shown in the basic accounting equation. Putha, what is the basic accounting equation? This was a 2012 A-level paper. What was the basic accounting equation? Basic accounting equation is assets equal equity plus liability. Right. Could you tell me what's the answer here? When you incur maintenance expenses on the machinery, how are you supposed to record it? What is the answer, Putha? Which one is the answer? All of you please provide the answers. Shara says it's 3. How about the others? Right. Okay. Putha, yes, you need to confirm it. Okay. We'll move into the discussion. What does it say, Putha? Yes, if you incur any maintenance expenses on an assets, it need to be recognized as an expenditure for the period. Right? Therefore, maintenance expenses incurred on the assets. LK16 we are talking about capital and the revenue expenses, right? Capital expenses and the revenue expenses, right? On the property, plant and equipment. There you will have a very detailed discussions, right? But for the moment, keep it in your mind, whatever the expenses that you incurred on maintaining the non-current assets, you need to consider as an expense. So in that case, what will happen, Putha? Your assets balance reduces by 8,000 because you are paying out of cash. Then your cash balance decreases by 8,000. And on the other side, here you are incurring an expense. Putha, expense reduces your equity. Expenses reduces your equity. Then what will happen? Assets decreases, equity decreases because it is an expense. Yes, as you all said, third one is the correct answer. Assets decreases, equity decreases. If you need, you can say here, expenses incurred on maintaining the assets. Expenses incurred on maintaining an assets. Expenses incurred on maintaining an assets should be considered as an expense in the year of incurred. In the year you incurred, that you recognize as an expense. Right. Okay. Look at the next question. Balance of the capital account of a sole trader was increased by 500,000 during the year. Which of the following transaction would not reflect this increase? Right. This was the other question. Putha, equity balance was increased, right? What will not be the transaction for it? What will not be the transaction which has that particular influence, right? Could you tell me what is it, Putha? Could you tell me? What's the answer? What's the answer? Shara says it's fourth one. How about the others? Yeah, Aisha also says fourth one, right? Okay, we'll see, Putha. What does it say? Equity balance here. They're asking equity balance would increase due to what reason? Putha, there are only two reasons to increase the equity balance. One is additional capital. Other one is what? Profit to income. Those are the only two reasons to increase the equity balance. Equity balance increase in the one is additional capital, other one is a profit or the income. Now here, due to the drawings and the expenses or the losses, equity balance decreases. Now here, if you look at this, business earned the profit of 500,000. This is an income, equity balance increases. Additional capital, 500,000. So then that you consider as an additional capital. Motor vehicle board, that is also additional capital. Owner paid his private debts 500,000 from the business bank account. Puta, this 500,000, how do you need to consider? Right? That 500,000 you need to consider as a drawings. Drawings doesn't really increase the owner's equity, it reduces owner's equity. Right? According to the separate entity concept, if business paid owner's expense, you need to consider that as a drawings. The last one. So then the fourth one sounds like the correct answer. But when you look at the fifth one, 500,000 due to the supply of the business was paid by the owner's money. But the business loan was paid out of the owner's money. So then you need to consider that as an additional capital. Again, the equity balance increases. Yes, as you all correctly said, which one is the correct answer? Fourth one is the correct answer. Please do all the corrections in the paper. Right. Okay. That is all about the 2013. There were two questions. We did both. Right. We are moving into the 2013 ALL paper questions. So the right. Then could you write the question number, the 2013 ALL paper questions, Sudha? Please do them. 2013 ALL paper question. Right, hurry up. Give me a second. Right. Okay. I'll give 2 minutes in providing the answer for this. Right. Take 2 minutes and provide the answer for the 2013 accounting equation question. Right. Right. Okay. What is the question, Puta? A business entity purchased goods with a list price of 200,000 subject to a trade discount of 10%. What is the effect of these transactions? Tell me, what is your answer? Some of you all have said it's the, yeah, all of you all are saying it's the first one, right? Answer number 1. We'll see. Tell me, Puta, when you are recording the transactions in the business books of accounts, you are recording, do we record the list price? No, we never ever record the list price. We always record the invoice price, right? Puta, what is the difference between the list price and the invoice price? List price minus trade discount. List price minus trade discount is equal to the invoice price. But the list price here is how much? That is 200,000. 200,000. And when you are giving the trade discounts of 10%, it is 20,000, right? And how much is the invoice price? Invoice price will be rupees 180,000, right? Now here, what has happened? You have purchased goods on credit basis, right? When you purchase the stocks on credit basis, assets balance increased by 180,000. Liability balance increased by how much? Rupees 180,000. Assets increased by 180 and the liability balance increased by how much? Rupees 180,000. Was that clear? Right. And which one is the correct answer as you all? Said assets increases, liability increases. Answer number 1. Right. Put up note list price will not be recorded in the business books of accounts. List price will not be recorded in the business books of accounts. Right. If you need, you can say list price minus trade discount is equal to the invoice price. Discount minus trade discount is equal to the invoice price. Right. Okay. What is next? They're asking state whether the following transactions and the events increases, decreases, no change. Right. The accounting equations they have given in 2013. Assets equal liability plus equity. Assets equal liability plus equity. Right. So what is the first one? Raising capital from the owner. Pita, when owner introduces the capital, assets increases and the equity increases. Right? They are not giving you the amount. You need to just say whether it is increase or decrease. When owner introduces, assets introduces the capital, assets increases, but liability no change, equity increases. Equity increases. Right? Okay. What is the next one? Second one. Do your corrections with the provision for doubtful debts. Then we provision for doubtful debts. What is the word we use instead? Allowances for expected losses. When you make the allowances for expected losses, it reduces, decreases owner's assets, business assets, and it is an expense. Right? And it reduces owner's equity. Equity reduces owner's equity. The expenses reduces owner's equity. Then you need to reduce from the equity and it has no change. Then make a double entry. What is the double entry? Expected losses account debit, allowances for expected losses credit. If you make any allowance against an asset, it will be reduced from both assets and the equity. It is an expenditure. Right. Third one, transaction number 3. What does it say? Payment of loan installment including the interest. You pay the loan installment including the interest. You are paying 85,000 interest, 85,000 loan, which includes the interest of 15,000. And how do you record? Assets decrease by 85,000. Equity decrease by 15,000 because the interest, and liability reduces by rupees 70,000. Due to this, assets decreases 85. When you pay loan installment, your assets balance decreases. And liability also decreases because from the capital portion, your liability balance decreases. And you can say here also what? Liability decreases. And due to the interest portion, equity balance decreases. Right? Due to the interest portion, your equity balance decreases. Right. The fourth one. What's the fourth one? Declarations of the dividend for the ordinary shareholders. So that this has not yet tested, right? This has not yet discussed in your paper, in your class, because this will be discussed under the company account. So declarations of the dividends. Company accounts question. Declarations of the dividends will not be recorded in the business books of accounts. Therefore, this has no impact on what? Any of these elements of the accounting equations. Declarations of the dividends will not be recorded in the business books of accounts. Dividend pay kara wage nemei, dividend declare karahama, it has no impact on the business books of accounts. Therefore, it has no change, right? Both assets, all assets, liability and equity has no change due to the declarations of the dividends. When you pay the dividends, question dividend was paid, then your assets balance decreases by that amount, and what? Owners equity decreases. Then are sole traders lage puta drawings wage තමයි companies වල drawings එනුවට shareholders ට benefit එක ඒගොල්ලෝ අරගෙන යන්නේ කොහමද? Through the dividends, right? එතන dividends reduces owners equity, right? That is 2013 A-level paper question. We will move to the 2014, right? මේක කියනවා balance of 100,000 payable to a creditor of a business was settled by its owner. A creditor was settled by the owner out of his own money. At the time of settlement, creditor allowed a discount of 10,000. The effect of these transactions. Okay, what is your answer? What is your answer? The basic accounting equation is assets equal equity plus liability. Right. What is the answer? Share said it's fourth one. How about others? Balance of payable to a creditor. Balance payable of creditor 100,000 paid by the owner, but you receive the discount of 10,000. එන පුතා business එකට owner ගෙදරින් ගෙනල්ලා තියෙන්නේ 90,000, right? Owner bought, right, as a capital to the business 90 because he wanted to pay 100,000 worth creditor, but we receive the discount of 10,000, right? Eham we wanted to pay only 90, that amount only owner has to bring. By the time you make the settlement, you have received the discount of 10,000. Discount received is an income. Income should be added to the equity. Then equity balance increases, right? By 10,000. එතකොට පුතා මෙතනවා ලියනවා නම් ලියන්න ඕනේ additional capital. What do I write here? Discount received. And your liability reduces by how much? Liability reduces by how much? Rupees 100,000. Liability reduces by rupees 100,000. Was that clear? Yes. And end of the day, equity increased by 100,000, puta, and liability decreased by 100,000. If it is not clear, please raise the question. I can explain it again. Which one is the correct answer? Yes, as you all correctly said, fourth one is a correct answer. Equity increases by 100,000. Equity 100,000 only increase in the reasons දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් මොනවාද? Additional capital of 90 and the discount received 10,000. Liability reduces by 100,000. Right. Okay. What is next? Indicate whether the following statements true or false. Right. Okay. First one. Equity increases due to the receipt of the cash from the debtor. But when you receive the cash from the debtor, what will happen to the equity? Will the equity be changed? No, it is false. පුතා අපි debtor කෙනෙක්ගෙන් සල්ලි ගත්තාම what will happen? What is the effect on the equation? Assets equal equity plus liability. This is a basic accounting equation. What will happen? What will happen? When you collect the money from the debtors, assets increases, which is cash, and assets decreases, which is debtor. Right? It has no impact on what? Equity. එතකොට අපි මේ debtor ට sale එක කරද්දී equity balance එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැති, but not now. Right. The second one. Equity decreases due to the payment of interest. Oh, interest payment is an expense. Interest payment is an expense. Then when you pay it, what will happen? Your equity balance decreases. Interest is an expense. That is true. Right. Third one. Profit for the year decreases when dividend is paid to the shareholders. So the company account වලින් මතක තියාගන්න, this statement is false. හරිද? මමට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අපි sole traders ලගෙන් අහුවොත්, when owner make the drawings, what is the effect on the profit? Profit has no impact. මොකද profit එක calculate කරන්නේ පුතා income minus expenses නේ. How do you calculate the profit? Income minus expenses. Drawings is an equity account. So then end of the day, it has no impact on profit, right? මෙතන ඒක ඒ විදිහටම අහලා තියෙනවා. Profit for the year decreases when dividend is paid. No, dividend pay කරා කියලා ඕන ගෙදර අරන් ගියා කියලා ඒක expense එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක drawings. Due to the drawings, it has no impact on profit. False. Fourth one. Year-end cash balance always increases. No. ඒකත් අර දීපුතා බිස්නස් එකේ ප්‍රොෆිට් එක තිබ්බා කියලා කෑෂ් බැලන්ස් එක වැඩි වෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ. අපි ලොකු ප්‍රොෆිට් එකක් තිබ්බා කියලා. හැබැයි සල්ලි වලින් අපි ලොකු ඇසෙට් එකක් පර්චේස් කරමු. නේ ප්‍රොෆිට් එකක් තියනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඔව් ඇසෙට්ස් වලට වඩා එක්ස්පෙන්සස් වලට වඩා ඉන්කම් වැඩියෙන් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි එහෙම කියලා කෑෂ් වැඩි වෙන්න විදිහක් නැහැ. ප්‍රොෆිට් එකයි කෑෂ් එක අතර ඩිරෙක්ට් රිලේෂන්ෂිප් එකක් නැහැ. නේ understood what I'm saying, right? එහෙනම් දැන් අපි තුන් business එකේ there's a huge profit, right? So then you get the huge amount of cash. Let's say profit was supported by the cash, but by using these cash, if you have purchased another assets, අපි වෙන asset එකක් purchase කරා නම් what will happen? So then even though you have a profit, your assets balance decreases. Sorry, your cash balance decreases. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි ලොකු credit sales වගේක් කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? You have done huge credit sales. As a result, your profit is higher, but what has happened to the equity? What has happened to the cash flow? You have not generated any cash flow. Therefore, even that particular statement is false. False. Profit and cash flow has no direct relationship because profit you calculate on the accrual basis, but the cash you record on the cash basis. Right? Okay. හැබැයි ඉතින් ප්‍රොෆිට් එක හොඳ වෙන්නේ cash inflow එකක් තියෙනවා නම් තමයි. Right. ඊළඟට අපිට කියනවා they wanted to classify these assets as assets, liability, equity, income and equity, right? මට කියන්න provision for doubtful debts. එහෙම නැත්නම් allowances for expected losses. Tell me පුතා. දැන් අපි provision for doubtful debts කියන වචනේ පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ allowances for expected losses. I need an answer for this. What this is? This is an assets or a liability? What account? Exactly, it is an assets account. It is an assets account, right? If you made any allowance against an assets, you need to consider that as an assets. Give me another example for an allowance you make against the assets and that you consider as an assets. What? Accumulated depreciations. Accumulated depreciations you make against the property, plant and equipment. So then you consider that as what? Assets account. If you make any allowance against an asset, it is an assets. Rent income received in advance. Could you tell me? Rent income, rent in advance. How do you consider that as? Very good. Income received in advance, always you consider as a liability. Puta, keep it in your mind. Any income you receive in advance, you need to consider as a liability. Income in advance is a liability. Good. What is next? Retained earnings. Retained earnings is what account? Yeah, retained earnings is an equity account. Retained earnings is an equity account. Retained earnings are undistributed profit. Now the profit is attributable for the owner, then retained earnings is an equity account. One last thing, bad debts කියලා තියෙන්නේ පුතා දැන් අපි මේ වචනේ පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ. Instead of the word of bad debts, what is the word we use? Impairment losses. Could you tell me impairment losses is what account? Impairment losses? Yeah, it is an expense account. Very good. Impairment losses is an expense. Right? Impairment losses is an expense. Good. Right. Okay, that is all about the 2014. We'll move into the 2015 ALL paper question. Right. A firm has purchased a list price of 600 on subject to a trade discounts of 5%. Sold these goods for 650 on cash. The amount due to the creditor has not been settled yet. Right? What is the net effect of these transactions? Transactions dekak thiyena. One is a credit purchase, the other one is what? Sales. Right? Okay. You by the time I explain this, you can send me the answer. Right? We'll see the effect on the accounting equation. What is the basic accounting equation, Puta? Assets equal equity plus liability. Assets equal equity plus liability. Right. What is the first one? You purchase 600,000, but that is a list price. Do we record the list price anywhere? No. The list price is how much? Rupees 600,000, and we are giving the trade discount. Trade discount 5%. Right? We are giving trade discount of 5%. which is 30,000. And how much is the invoice price, Puta? Invoice price comes to 570,000, right? Invoice price is rupees 570. Now what will happen? When you purchase 570,000 worth inventory, නේද අපි list price එක අපි කොහෙවත් record කරන්නේ නැහැ නේ. එහෙනම් assets increase by 570. පුතා මේක අරගෙන තියෙන credit basis ද? Yes, on credit basis, then your liability increased by 570,000. ඊළඟ question එකේ කියනවා this entire stock was sold for how much? මේ මුළු stock එකම sell කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට when you sell this, what will happen? 570,000 was assets decreases because there's outflow of the stock, 570. On the other side, what will happen? You sold this for 650. එහෙනම් your cash balance increased by how much? 650. 570 was stock when you sell for 650. Your assets balance decreased by 570 and the cash balance increased by 650. And you get a profit of 80. That profit of 80 must be added to the equity balance. Then your equity balance increased by how much? Rupees 80,000. So then end of the day, what is the effect of all these transactions? With the 650 and then assets. Yes, assets increased by 650, equity increased by 80, and the liability increased by 570,000. Right? Which one is the correct answer then? Yeah, the fourth one is the correct answer. See the way that I got the answer here, right? Assets equal equity plus liability. Understood? Right. Okay. Correct this. Right. We will move to the next. Sumudu commenced the business on 1st April 2014, investing 500,000 in cash. During the year, Sumudu has provided 200,000 worth photocopier. Right, yeah, initial capital invest 500,000, then he has done the additional capital and there's a drawings of 50. Business earned a profit of 120 during the year. State with the values the two items that contribute to increase the equity. So the equity එක වැඩි වෙන්න මෙතන මොනවද හේතු තියෙන්නේ? With the values. First one is what? කියන්නේ අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් additional capital. Even the initial capital you can take additional capital. මට කියන්න පුතා how much the additional capital that they have introduced? Additional capital that they have introduced was rupees 50,000. Sorry, 200,000. That photocopy machine, 200,000. And tell me another reason. I profit taken. Profit for the period was it 120,000. That is 120,000. Profit for the period 120,000. Right. You know what is next, Puta? Then what is the net assets of the business as at 31st March 2015? Again, Puta, equity balance at the end of the period. Okay. Equity balance at the end of the period. How much the answer? You can send it. මට කියන්න පුතා opening equity balance was 500,000. Then there was a additional capital rupees 200,000. And for this you add in the profit rupees 120,000. And the drawings, please correct the spellings with that. Drawings could be how much? 50,000, no? Drawings rupees 50,000. Initial capital 500,000. There was an additional capital of 200,000. And there was a profit figure 120,000. and drawings 50,000. And you can get the closing equity balance as how much? 770,000. Closing balance is how much? Rupees 770,000. Was that clear? Please do the corrections. What has to be the answer, Buddha? Yes. 770. This is how you got the answer. Hurry. Buddha, that is all about 2015 A-level paper question. 2015 A-level paper question. We did 2012, 2013, 2014, and now we have done the 2015. Right. The 2016 A-level paper question, question number 1, 2, they have given 3 questions. But the first questions I'm not going to discuss with you all because EPF and the ETF we haven't done for the most of the students yet, right? Therefore, we'll keep the count that EPF and the ETF questions, but we will do them later. But we will move to the question number 2, right? Question number 2, 2016 A-level paper. Question number 2. I'm not going to discuss the question number 1 as it is related to the EPF and the ETF. We haven't done most of that is for most of you all yet, right? Question number 2. Someone purchases goods of 100,000 on credit. On the same day, these goods are sold for 120,000 and incurring a selling expense of 5,000. Show the net effect. But here, actually, there are 3 transactions. Purchase of the goods on credit sales, and incurring the expenses, right? Now, how do you going to record all 3 things together? You get assets equal equity plus liability. Right. What has happened there? For the 100,000 worth stocks you purchase on credit. When you purchase 100,000 worth stocks on credit, your assets balance increased by 100,000. And liability balance increased by 100,000. And then it says you sold the entire stock for 120,000. This entire stock, when you sell for 120, then your assets balance decreased by 120 and 100,000. Where that is the cost of the stocks, and your assets balance increased by 120,000. It may be debtor or cash. If it is on cash basis, cash balance increases. If it is on credit basis, debtor balance increases. Due to this transaction, equity balance increased by how much? Rupees 20,000. Third one. What's the third one? Yeah, you incur the selling expense of rupees 5,000. But when you incur the selling expense, assets decrease by 5,000 and your equity balance decreased by rupees 5,000. Assets decreased by rupees 5,000 and the equity balance decreased by rupees 5,000. Clear now? Yes. Fourth one. Yeah, that's all. They want you to identify the effect on the accounting, effect on the these transactions, effect of these transactions on the basic accounting equation. By 115, assets balance increases, equity balance increased by 15, and liability balance increased by rupees 100,000. Right. Okay. Could you do it? Right. Then shall we move to the next? State whether the following transaction would lead to an increase, decrease, or no change in the balance of the debtors control account, right? We'll see the effect on the debtors due to both of these transactions, all these transactions, right? Transactions. There are 4 transactions. You need to mention whether it is increase, decrease, or no change. What is the first one? First one. The sale of used machinery on credit. Machinery එකක් අපි sell කරාම ඒක debtor ගේ control account එකේ record වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Debtor ගේ trade debtors. දැන් අපි දන්නවා receivables are 2 types, trade receivables and the other receivables. The trade receivables කියලා කියන්නේ receivables that are generated from the credit sales. ඒතර ඔය කියන්නේ මෙතන මේ debtor කියලා කියන්නේ පුතා trade receivables වලට. එතකොට asset එකක් වික්කහම ඒක අපි debtor account එකට දාන්නේ නැහැ. What you record in the debtor account only the credit sales. Therefore this transaction has no effect on basic accounting equation. You can say no change. No change. What is B? Return on goods on credit. Puta, return on goods sold on credit. When the debtors return in the stocks, when there's a sales return, debtor balance will what? Decreases. Debtor balance will decreases. Look at the next one. Writing off the impairment losses. Puta, again, when you writing off the impairment losses, debtor balance decreases. අපිට හම්බ වෙන තියෙන සල්ලි අපි write off කරද්දී debtor balance decreases. You can say it decreases the debtor balance. The last one, D. When you take D, making allowance. පුතා ඔයා debtor කෙනෙක්ට allowance එකක් දැම්ම කියලා debtors control account එකට මොකුත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒක ඉස්සරහට ඉගෙන ගමු. Then you can say it has no change. Right? Make allowances for expected losses. What is the double entry? P&L debit. And you can say allowances for expected losses credit. And then you can see, right, when you account for the allowance, when you are accounting for the allowances for expected losses, it has no impact on trade receivable balance. It has no impact on trade receivable balance, right? Trade receivable control account, right? Make copy balance sheet එක හදද්දී debtor එකෙන් අඩු කරලා දානවා. නමුත් control account එකේ allowances record වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? What is the next one? 2017. Right? Okay. This might be the last question that we discuss for the day, right? State 2017. The monthly loan installments of 100,000 for the loan obtained by the business was paid by the Nuan from his personal cash. That interest includes 25,000. Which of the following equation shows the net impact of these transactions? Okay, what is the answer? So the basic accounting equations will be assets equal equity plus liability, right? Okay, what has happened there? Yeah, owner paid the loan installments of 100,000. පුතා ඒ කියන්නේ owner ගෙදරින් අරන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවනේ 100,000. By 100,000 liability equity balance increases. On the other side, what has happened? That include the interest of how much? They say 25,000. එහෙනම් පුතා increases in expense means increases in expenses. Increases in interest means it is an expense. Increase in expense reduces the equity balance by 25,000. එතකොට පුතා loan එකේ installment එකෙන් 100,000 interest නම් your liability reduces only by how much? Rupees 75,000. එහෙනම් how do you record? Equity decreased by 75 and liability decreased by how much? Rupees 75,000. Clear now? Yes. Right. What is next? State the which one was the correct answer? Equity increases, yeah. Equity increases. Liability decreases. Equity එක වැඩි වෙනවනේ 75. එහෙනම් yeah, first one is the correct answer. Right. What is the second one? They want you to classify the given income and the given ledger account as what? Under the relevant elements of financial statements. Right? State the appropriate classifications of the accounts maintained in the general ledger. Depreciations. Could you tell me what it is? So the depreciations you recognize as what? Good. Which you need to consider as an expense. Depreciations you consider as an expense. revaluation reserves. අපි එක company accounts වලදී කතා කරනවා. පුතා revaluation reserve මතක තියාගන්න, every reserve is an equity account. Every reserves you consider as an equity account. Trade payables are what? Liability. Trade payables are liability. Discount received. It's an income. Discount received is an income, right? Discount received you consider as an income. Yes. Okay. You can see what type of basic questions they are testing, right? Question number 3. You can see they in 2017 they have tested 4 questions. Indicate the net impact on the transactions due to this. What is the equation they have given? Assets equal equity plus liability. You got assets equal equity plus liability. What's the first one? Purchase of inventories on credit 150. When you purchase the inventories on credit 150, your assets balance increased by 150. Okay, assets balance what do you know 150, and how did you buy it on credit basis? And the liability balance increased by how much? 150,000. The next one, sale of goods costing 94, 140. Put 90,000 was stock, you sold for 140. 90,000 was stock, you sold for 140. Then your profit figure increased by how much? Rupees 50,000. Equity increased by 50,000. When you sell 90,000 was stock for 150, you earn a profit of 50,000. Right. These are the effects on the given transaction. Right. Look at the next one. Sumudu commenced the retail business on 1st of March, invest in 80. During the month ending, goods costing 350 was sold for 400,000. You can either profit of 50,000. Further business incur 60,000 expense, of which 20,000 is payable. 20,000 is payable. What is the effect on? What are the balances with regard to the assets, liability and the equity? Okay, enang api basic accounting equation එක use කරා නම් හරිනේ මේකට to record the transactions. Okay, what's the first one? Owner invested, Sumudu invested 800,000. When Sumudu invested 800,000, assets balance increased by 800,000. Equity increased by rupees 800,000. That's the first thing, right? Secondly, you sold 350 worth stock for 400,000. Again, you earn a profit of 50. The net effect without record karanna. Now you are matured students, right? And assets increases due to that transaction, the equity increases by 50,000. Neither open net effect, right? Okay, third one, 60,000 expense එකක් ඉන්ක කරලා තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් expense එක ඉන්ක කරාම equity balance එක අඩු වෙනවා පුතා 60,000 වලින්. හැබැයි මේකෙන් අපි pay කරලා තියෙන්නේ out of these 60 we have paid how much? 40. මේකෙන් ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ පුතා 40. Now cash balance decreased by 40. Why? Because there's a payable of how much? Rupees 20,000. එහෙනම් what is the net effect of this? Closing assets will be 810, equity will be 750, liability will be 20,000. Liability will be 20,000. Right. Okay. This is all about 2017 A-level paper question. 2017. Right. Okay. Complete your answer. Hi. Okay. Okay, from this video, we are going to talk about the 2018 A-level paper question from the accounting equation. In 2018 paper, there was a small issue here in this. We'll leave this particular question for the moment, right? And what is the question number 2? They want you to identify the right. Make a maru vela thiyena. Now we make question number 2 එක ඉස්සෙල්ලා කරලා we will answer the question number 2, right? The equation that represent the profit earned by the business during a financial year. Puta, they have given the profit equation. Could you tell me how are you supposed to calculate the profit using the profit equation? What's the formula that you're supposed to use? Profit of a business. You could calculate how? Closing equity minus opening equity plus drawings minus what? Additional capital. Additional capital, right? That is a formula that we're supposed to use in calculating the profit. So then based on the information given here, what's the correct answer? Year-end equity is fine. Drawings has been added. Have a new capital introduced also has been added. Therefore, this is not correct. Second one, closing equity plus drawings minus, yes. So this sounds like correct, right? But these 3 are wrong, right? Which one is the correct answer? Answer number 2 is the correct answer for the 2018 this particular question number 2, right? Okay, then you want to start the next question number 4. They have given few informations they want you to identify, right? Yeah, they want you to identify the effect on the given transaction. So make it they have given few transactions. The following transaction took place in Gamunu PLC during the month of March 2018. The accounting year of the company ends on 31st March. They have given 4 transactions. Which of the following statement indicate the impact of each of the above transaction, right? You need to identify the transaction number in front of it. Decrease in assets and decrease in equity. What are the transactions they have given? Receives a cash 400,000 by issuing ordinary shares. Again, මෙතන company එකක් ගැන අහන්නේ. අපි business එක sole proprietorship එකක් පැත්තෙන් බැලුවොත් introductions of capital, right? So when there was introductions of capital, what will happen? Assets increases, equity increases when there was introductions of capital or the share issue, right? එහෙනම් අපිට ඒක consider කරන්න පුළුවන් increases in assets and increases in capital. එතකොට මෙතෙන්ට අපිට ලියන්න පුළුවන් transaction number 1. Purchase of goods on credit. When you purchase the goods on credit, assets increases, liability increases, but that type of thing has not been given, right? ඊළඟට revalue the land for the first time with a deficit. පුතා එතෙන්දී ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි asset එකක් revalue කරනවා deficit එකක් එක්ක කියන්නේ අපි තුමු 5 million තියෙන asset එකක් අපි 3 million වලට revalue කරනවා. 5 million asset එකක් 3 million වලට revalue කරොත් what will happen? Assets balance decreases. On the other side, equity balance also decreases. Therefore, so then third one could be written here. Third one could be here. Incurred advertising expenses and it is payable. Puta, etendi advertising expenses hasn't been paid. It's a liability. Ehna, what will happen? When you record the advertising expenses, api ek basic accounting equation එක පෙන්නුවොත් පුතා, what is the basic accounting equation that you're supposed to use? Assets equal equity plus liability. Assets equal equity plus liability, right? Advertising expenses incurred for the period, let's say rupees 50,000, then equity balance decreases. On the other side, liability balance increases rupees 50,000, right? You haven't paid, right? Then what will happen? Then fourth one is the correct answer. You can see liability increases and equity decreases. එතකොට මේ දෙවනි එකේ effect එක දන්නවා. ඒක original paper එක පොඩක් බලන්න ඕන නම් when you purchase stocks on credit, what will happen? When you purchase 100,000 worth stocks on credit, inventory increased by 100,000, which is an assets. As you purchase it on credit basis, liability increased by rupees 100,000. Liability increased by rupees 100,000. Right. Okay. Shall we move to the 2019 A-level paper question? පුතා මේකත් EPF ETF question එකක් අපි ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් තියමු පැත්තකින්. මොකද EPF ETF තාම අපි කතා කරලා නැහැ. ගොඩක් කටට again, especially for the 2024 batch, we haven't discussed the EPF ETF yet. Therefore, we'll keep it, right? We will move to the adjustment number 2. What does it say? State the transaction. State whether the following transactions of the business lead to increase its equity. You need to, if yes, you need to have put a tick mark. If not, you need to use that. It is not increases, you have to say the cross mark, right? මේක කියනවා දැන් අපි දන්නවා පුතා business එකක equity balance එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? How come the equity balance of the business could increase? Business එකක equity එක වැඩි වෙන්න reason කීපයක් තියෙනවා. එකක් මොනවාද? Additional capital. The second one is what? Profit or income. Second one is a profit or income. Right. Okay. Those are the two main reasons to increase your assets balance. Right. And if you take the first one, sold 50,000 worth stocks for 80. Puta, when you sell 50,000 worth stocks for 80, your equity balance would increases. Right. Yeah, that is a transaction which increases equity balance. Ilangata, owner provided equipment worth 200,000 to the business. When owner provided equipment 200,000, that you consider as an additional capital, again equity balance increases. Ilangata, owner paid the loan installment 30,000 of the business from his personal money, again that additional capital. You know that according to the separate entity concepts, is owner incur business payment, you need to consider as what? Additional capital. And equity balance increases. Last one, receive the cash discount, puta, that is an income. Again, equity balance increases. May hammer transaction equity balance 50,000 worth stock you sold for 30, equity increases, there's a profit. Owner provided an equipment worth 200,000, additional capital. Owner paid the loan installment, again an additional capital. And cash discount 5,000 is an income. Income increases owner's equity. Right. අපි උතා මේකත් ඔහොමම තියමු. තුන්වෙනි question එකේ counting equation එකක් නෙමෙයි. අපි යන් 2020 LL paper question එකට. Right. 2020 LL paper question. Right. Okay. What does it say? Use the following information to answer. Use the following information to answer the following questions. What were the questions they have given to the? Nuwan opened a stationery trading shop on 1st Jan 2020 and his brother Sujit is the sole employee of the business. The amount, the following transactions took place. They have given few transactions. Nuwan invested, capital invested by Nuwan to commence the business, purchase of stationery on cash, purchase of stationery on credit, return part of the stationery, sold stationery worth, stationery on credit. This includes 64,000 value-added tax, right? Paid salary to Sujit. Cost of the stationery sold during the year 500,000. The electricity charges payable 300,000. Assume that there's no VAT on the purchases and the other expenses. They want you to identify first one, the effect of the first 4 transactions. Neither when the May Hatara effect. They're asking the effect of the first 4 transactions on the accounting equation. Okay. And now we'll record them in the basic accounting equation. Right. What's the equations they have given? පුතා මේ ඔක්කොගෙම නෙමෙයි මෙයා අහන්නේ පුතා අපේ පළවෙනි informations 4. Right. එහෙනම් what is the basic accounting equations you get? Assets equal equity plus liability. Right. Okay. What is the first one, Puta? Invested cash by Nuan to commence the business 300,000. Puta, cash investor la tiyena Nuan rupees 300,000. What will happen? Assets increases, equity increases. They want you to identify the effect of the first 4 transactions. Okay, the first transaction was non-invested rupees 300,000 as capital. Then assets increases, equity increases how much? Rupees 200,000. What is the second one? Purchase stationeries on credit. When you purchase a stationery on credit, Puta, stationery stock increased by 200, which is an assets, and cash balance decreased by 200. Third one, purchase stationery on credit 550. Puta, when you purchase the stationery on credit, but on credit basis, what will happen? Assets increased by 550 and liability increased by rupees 450. Assets increase 550 and liability increase 550. Then return part of the stationery stock purchase on credit basis due to the defect rupees 50. Put the purchases return. How would you record here? Assets decreased by 50 and liability decreased by how much? Rupees 50,000. Okay. They want you to identify the effect of the first 4 transactions. We recorded them already in the given equation. We'll take thought. You got 800. Yes, 500. You know what's the equation? Assets increased by 800, equity increased by 300, liability increased by how much? Rupees 500. 800, 300, 500. Right. Which one is the correct answer? Second one is the correct answer. Right. Second one is the correct answer. Understood? Yes. Right. I'll give you a minute for you to do the corrections if you need more time. Right. This is how the first 4 transactions will be recorded. Go through the answer. Right. Okay. What is next, Puta? Question number 2. The following information has been extracted from the accounting records of a business. Assets and the liabilities they have given. During the year, owner paid the loan installments of the business amounted to 120,000 using its personal funds. That means owner bought into the business 120 as additional capital, and owner obtained 90,000 from the business every year to pay the school fees of the children. He does not draw any other money from the business. You are required to calculate the profit. Then after profit එක business එකක calculate කරනවා නම් we are supposed to use the income statements. එතකොට පුතා මේ question එකේ income statement එක හදන්න අපිට information දීලා නැහැ. එහෙනම් what shall we do? We are supposed to use what? කියන්නේ profit equation. මට කියන්න how are you supposed to calculate the profit equation පුතා? Profit of the business, what is the profit equation that we supposed to use? Closing equity minus opening equity plus drawings minus what? Additional capital. පුතා මේකේ closing equity එක දීලා තියෙනවද? නෑනේ හැබැයි අපිට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. How to find the closing equity? Closing equity equal closing assets minus closing liability. Closing assets 1,700. Closing liability 900, then it is rupees 800. Closing equity 800. But again, opening equity is how much? Opening equity is how much? Rupees 500. For the calculate current with the opening assets 1200, liability 700, it is 500. Additional capital during the period, sorry, drawings during the period, it's a 90,000. No, every year you take 90,000. So this year also you might have taken 90,000. And right, and additional capital 120,000. He has invested 120,000 minus 120. And how much is the profit for the period? You get the profit. Yes, you would say it's 270. We'll see. Opening balance is 800 minus 500 plus drawings 90 and minus 120, which is 270. Yes, your answer is correct, Puta. It's 270,000. Profit for the period, rupees 270. Right. Okay. Calculate retained earnings. Right. How do you calculate the retained earnings? Let me get opening retained earnings balance deal and right. Have I may out the profit take a 270. But again, how do you calculate the retained earnings? How do you calculate the retained earnings? Retained earnings scale the amount that has not out of the profit, amount which has not been withdrawn. How do you calculate the retained earnings? Profit of the business minus what? Drawings. Profit of the business minus drawings. Profit minus drawings is the retained earnings. Business again profit taking owner gather around ticket up again on drawing scale. Itu ticket up again on retained earnings. Where you keep the retained earnings in the business, right? The profit reinvested by the owner in the business. The business profit take a key the we calculate 270. Owner has withdrawn rupees 90. Drawings rupees 90. Retained earnings how much? 270 minus 90 rupees 180,000. So retained earnings rupees 180,000. Right. Retained earnings of the business rupees 180,000. Clear now? Right. Okay. Complete it with a. If there's any question, please raise them. Right. Done. Okay. Right. So that is all about the 2020 past paper question, right, on the accounting equation.